Reverend Michael McMorrow here, coming to you live from the from the sanctuary at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, in the heart of the old Granada village in the North San Fernando Valley in California, in case you're joining us for the first time. Granada Hills is a faith community that welcomes all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. I'm joined tonight by my partner in meditation, Mr. Michael Carlin, who's working the audio and video for us this evening, so we're grateful for him. And he basically is does almost everything around here. So we're grateful to have him and grateful to have you joining us. So we're just going to start by doing something we do here at the center, and we like to open. It's called our Flames of Faith. So let's just start by taking a deep conscious breath together and release. And just allow the dust of the day. Shake the dust of the day from our sandals. Take another deep breath. And hold it, and then release, and let the shoulders drop and as we surrender to this eternal now moment. As we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So, the first candle we have is lit for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. The fourth candle we light for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and here within our own hearts. And behind me, you will see on the altar the healing candle. So, placing in the light those who are suffering or have passed from the pandemic or suffering in any way. Please put their names silently or aloud into the healing candle. The names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender, I trust in God.
Again, breathing into this moment. We surrender this moment, surrender ourselves to this moment as we recall and remember that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence, one infinite heart. It is that of many names, the I am that I am. And so we go within and we connect with this I am presence, recognizing and knowing in this moment that the living Spirit is within us and that we are communing with it. That we set an intention for our time on the cushion here this evening. That we release any attachment to outcome as to what's supposed to happen and when and all the other little machinations of mind, that we just release all of it. We release the day, we release the story, we release the attachment to the past and the scheming of the future, and allow ourselves to just be fully present in this moment. And so, having set the tone for this evening, I now know for all of us that it is good and very good that we step into this meditation time now, open and receptive for whatever the living Spirit has to share with us, and to share that with each other in mind. So we can take a deep breath here. And for this word and the intention of anyone listening, that we're just releasing it with that breath, releasing it unto that aspect of the mind of the divine itself that knows only to say yes as law. So we just simply release any attachment to outcome, knowing that it is done. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So before we get underway, we do have an announcement, and that is we have a new minister in the Granada Hills community, Reverend Charlotte Nicole Robbins, who passed her oral exams today. And I'm not sure when we get to officially call her Reverend, but let's just presume that it's already done, shall we? All right. So you can send her a text, or if you're on Facebook on her page, just drop her a note of congratulations. And she's really worked so hard and so diligently for this day. So we're really happy for her, even as we're sad that we can't have a big joyful celebration. But that's coming. So we've got the ordination of both Reverend Jessica and Reverend Kathy, who were ordained last year, and we didn't get a chance to honor them. That was last summer, and now Reverend Nicole. So it's going to be a good time when we get back together. Yeah. And it's going to be a good time right now as we come together for a little meditation. And I'm just, again, working with this book, Start Where You Are, a guide to compassionate living with the teacher Pema Chodron. And I have written my own book, Blue Collar Spirituality, Finding a God That Works. And It's not, it's a pretty good book. But it doesn't go as deep as this one does, that's for sure. So, we're going to keep working with this one. And so we're up to chapter 18 now, which is entitled Taking Responsibility for Our Own Actions. And of course, this fits right in with what we do here at our Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, because we practice a philosophy and a way of life called the science of mind and spirit. And the core tenet of that teaching is a couple things. One, that God is all there is, and that this God is an infinite power present everywhere that we can use through the impress of our thought, right? And then the other component to that, of course, is that we take responsibility for our own thinking, because we understand and know that it is our thinking that creates our reality. So we own it, and we do the work. We do the inventory work to allow those things within us that are not serving the highest and best for ourselves. And, that's our work at first. And then after we get that squared away, then it really becomes imperative that we allow ourselves to examine the way that we think and react and act with others. In fact, this really is where the rubber meets the road, because a spiritual philosophy that is just focused on our own inward desires is really not going to cut it, right? Because anybody can be peaceful by themselves. Well, for the most part, right? It's like the old story of the monk, the hermit who lives up in the cave meditating, right, for several years on his own, achieves enlightenment and comes down in the village, and the first person he meets, aggravates him and makes him angry. And he realizes, wow, I've got to go back to work. So our own life can look that way, and in all of its various manifestations of what that looks like, whether we're still actively working, whether we're working at staying safe at home, maybe even with kids, or we have a busy life post-working in retirement. I know many of our seniors in our community are far busier. I get exhausted watching them, everything they're doing, even with the pandemic. So, taking responsibility for our own actions. What really helps another person anyway? Pema asks. What really helps another person anyway? What really causes things to evolve in some kind of natural, spontaneous way? So she presents several slogans through the book, and so the slogans in this chapter provide some direction in this regard. Each begins with the word don't. And Pema likes to call them the naked truth slogans. So taking responsibility for our own actions is another way of talking about awakening bodhicitta. Because part of taking responsibility is the quality of being able to see things very clearly, to see them as they really are, not to see them as a way we think they should be or we wish they could be. Or even things that are tied to a story of the way that we believe the world to be. But instead it cuts through all of that. Right? It cuts through Maya, the dream, and sees reality. Another part of taking responsibility, how about this one? Another part of it is gentleness, which goes along with not judging, not calling things right or wrong, good or bad, but looking gently and honestly at ourself. Finally, there is also the ability to keep going forward. It's been described before as letting go, but in some sense, at a personal level, it's that we can just keep on going. We don't get completely overwhelmed by this identity, right? Ourselves, seeing ourselves as either a loser or a winner, the abuser or the abused, the good guy or the bad guy. You see what you do as clearly and as compassionately as you can, and then go on. The next moment is always fresh. The next moment is always fresh and open. You don't have to get frozen in an identity of any kind. So the first slogan that she's going to share with us is, don't talk about injured limbs. In other words, don't talk about other people's defects. Oh, but that's so much fun to gossip, to take another's inventory. Pema's observation is, we all get the same kind of satisfaction. We are all sitting around the table discussing Mortimer's bad breath. Not only that, he has dandruff. Not only that, he laughs weird. Not only that, he's kind of stupid. There is this peculiar security we get out of talking about other people's defects. Sometimes we sugarcoat it and pretend that we're not really doing it. We say something like, "Hi there. Did you know that Juanita steals?" And then we say, "Oh no, I shouldn't have said that. Excuse me. That was really unkind for me to say, and I won't say it anymore." Of course, we'd love to go on and on. But instead we say just enough to get people against Juanita, but not enough for them to disapprove of us for slandering her. There's another one, and then we'll get into the meditation. Don't, because the two are tied together, don't ponder others. It's talking about putting down other people to build ourselves up. Maybe we only do that mentally. After all, we don't actually say these things out loud because people would disapprove. What would they say? What would they think? But in our mind, we talk a lot about Mortimer, how I hate how he dresses, how he walks, how he stares coldly at you when you try to smile. And then we catch ourselves and we say, okay, this is enough. I've been criticizing Mortimer since the day I arrived here. I'm going to try and make friends. But Mortimer just meets our false, sunny smile with an icy stare. And so we continue then to ponder Mortimer's awful ways as you sit there on the cushion and you very seldom labeled it thinking or breathe it in. It doesn't occur to you to exchange yourself for Mortimer, and you certainly don't feel grateful to him. So there's a few things. Thanks, Pema. I thought we weren't supposed to be taking anybody's inventory. Right? So there's a few things to ponder, particularly in this this current climate that we find ourselves in, the outer world. Boy, there's a lot of stuff to work on. and the person, of course, whom we are struggling most with. This is where our attention and our work clearly needs to be. So that could be, a president or a Speaker of the House or, particular ideology of some kind. It could be a homeless encampment down the street. Or even the neighbor who's got that new car that you've always wanted and can't quite afford to have yet. So there's lots of stuff going on. But we take responsibility for our own consciousness. And we do this in a way that has loving kindness in it. So we're looking at these things with the mind of the observer. This is what we're able to do in the meditative state, right? Thoughts arise, we label it thinking, we release it. And we have awarenesses. And we work at detaching, releasing, so that ultimately then we are free until the next thing comes along. Don't you hate that part? All right, so let's, enough jabbering. Let's do some meditating, shall we? All right, so again, if this is your first time, just kind of jiggle and get your wiggles and jiggles out of the way. Check your seat. We're looking to build the mountain, nice triangular solid shape. So we're sitting, if we're in a chair, we're sitting anchored. If we're in a lotus position, good for you, that's amazing. But again, we're sitting in that anchored state with a straight but relaxed spine, and we're going to work with the breath. Of course, as we know, working with the breath, we're going to be bringing our attention to the movement of the breath in the nostril, on the upper lip, and then use sensation in the body to help focus the mind. And in doing that, we will see the stream of thought. The stream of thought will begin to settle. The mind will begin to calm. And of course, once in a while, a thought will arise. We just label it as thinking, release it, like observing a leaf on a stream passing by. It's another metaphor I've heard. And if we can't find ourselves caught by a thought that then becomes a story, we can just take a deep breath and just reset, and then we return back to the breath. That's it. If you have a mantra that you like to use, you're certainly welcome to do that. I just focus the breath. So let's just start by taking a deep breath in, shall we? Deep breath. And we're just going to release. And in that release, we're surrendering to the day. We're just checking our posture. Bring our attention to the bottoms of our feet. Up the leg. Into the knee. Sometimes we can torque that knee so we can release that. Following the breath, of course. So the eyes are relaxed. So continuing the scan from the knees to the hamstring and the quads, the belly rising and falling easily and effortlessly with the breath. Focusing on the breath. Bringing our attention to our sit bones. And if you're feeling a little tension in the lower back, you can tuck your tailbone underneath and that'll release it, and then the chair can support your back. Staying with the breath. That's it. Bring our attention to the spine. So it's erect and relaxed. Balanced over the sit bones, the spine on the sit bones, the head over the spine, the chin slightly downward. For myself, I often hold tension in my face. So I actually release my nose on the exhale. Bringing my attention to the third eye. Space between the eyebrows, above the eyebrows. Belly rising and falling. And as we go in deeper into the meditation, you may find a sensation there. And also on the crown of the head. So again, we're observing, not attaching, following the breath. We're going to take a deep breath now, and we're going to hold it and release. And then we're going to go into the silence for about 20 minutes with our oming bro. So taking a big deep breath. Hold it at the top. And release into the silence. attention gently back into the room, staying with the breath. So let's work with this space that we've made. So there's a flame of divinity right in the center of your chest. And so with each in-breath, we're going to fan that flame. Just breathing easily and naturally. So we're breathing in light, the light of the divine itself. We're breathing in light and exhaling love. Breathing in light, exhaling love. So with each in-breath, we're creating that this flame of the divine now is transformed into a ball of light that expands and contracts with the breath in the same way we would blow up a balloon. So this light energy then is expanding now beyond the torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom. Breathing in light, exhaling love. So we are now sitting in this globe of light and love. And we're feeling the love in that. Allowing ourselves to feel the connection in this moment. Staying with the breath and expanding this light even more. Filling the room itself with light and love, that we feel our heart opening and expanding. That we bring into this light now those whom we love. Experience that sense of love and connection with them. Breathing in light and exhaling love. Breathing in light, exhaling love. So now we bring into this light someone whom we may be in conflict with. Someone that we struggle with. Maybe someone we're close to who we just simply locked horns with. We breathe in light and exhale love. Breathing in light, exhaling love. And so for all those suffering in the body temple of any kind, including but not limited to those suffering with the COVID. We're breathing in light and exhaling love. So here's what we know, that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life of the divine, expressing and impressing itself in, through, and as the life experience in, through, and as all of creation, and that we are one with it. That all are one with it. So we breathe in and exhale love, and just know that our time here together, that we have released that which has needed to be released, that we feel a sense of serenity, of harmony, of peace, recognizing and knowing that there is that within us that is the pattern of perfection. So with each breath that we are activating our body temple at an atomic level is now aligning with this pattern of perfection. Every atom, every molecule, every cell, every muscle, every sinew, every bone, every neuron, our various biological systems are aligning now with this pattern of perfection. That as we see this truth for ourselves, we are seeing it for others as well. That there is now, by means of this healing meditation, an emanation of healing consciousness that is shifting and lifting not only the experience within our own body temple, but for whom anyone we know, personally, or even just simply within the human family. Take a deep breath. And we release it to that aspect of the mind, of the divine itself. This is where all work is done as law. So we know further that as we step away from this meditation here this evening, that it has been time well spent, that as we hit the pillow tonight, preparing for rest, we hit the pillow, drifting off to sleep easily and effortlessly, that we sleep deeply, dreaming sweet dreams, that we awaken in the morning feeling refreshed and revitalized, with a sense of vim and vigor and radiant good health, stepping into the day with excitement and joy. A joyful expectancy for the good that is ours to experience. So having set this intention for the words spoken here, for the words, the intentions held within the hearts of anyone listening, that we just take a deep breath now and release. Let's take one more breath together. And release. And so it is, all is well. Amen. So, sorry about that cough mid-meditation there. Hope didn't startle anyone. So we have many ways that you can support the center. I think Mike is scrolling those online now. So you can either give this evening any way that you choose to. And just know that any donation is received with deep gratitude and appreciation. It helps us keep this online thing going, and also just to keep our center intact for the day when we can all come together, and no one is looking forward to that more than I, believe me, because I feel like the Maytag repairman over here, the loneliest minister in town, as many of my colleagues throughout our various faith communities are feeling it as well. So just know that you are loved. Stay safe. Stay strong. Wear those masks. Wash those hands. keep our consciousness clean and clear and aligned with the divine. And and of course on Sunday you can join us at 10:30 right here on this channel, or we also simulcast to Facebook. So, hope you can join us. That's a full music program. I will be speaking this month of September. It will be about blue-collar spirituality. And this Sunday, the talk title will be Spirituality and the Recovering Redneck, which is a reprise of my talk at Asilomar, which I have not shared with our community here. Some of you may have heard it last year, and so Mike and I are working up a little something for you on that. And of course, we have Ken and Jason, and of course, the adorable Reverend Nancy Woods as well. All right, so we'll see you then. Peace and blessings. Until then, so long.